Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Talk to Sven. Thank you for the great comments you've made and sharing your thoughts. It's always an inspiration. Let me also welcome our sign language interpreter, Salma Moses, here today, and Denver Kisting, who is an inspiration to the show, as well as my other inspirations, which is my owner group, Human Capital Director, Berthold Mukuahima. Allow us to start a session with a short clip on the Owner World, which is a program we use to teach how to lead a great culture within the ONL group. Today, we've got three devices. The one is the mouth, right? Where we want to somehow describe what we see, what's going on in here. And that often results in quite a few discussions in terms of wanting to bring across a point. You know, how many times you say something and somebody else interprets it as something completely different. I said, no, that's never what I wanted to say. Okay? So we need to be on the outlook that if we are saying things to people, is very important to hear what lands. Many people say, but I told you. Yes. The thing is, you may have not been clear, or the person may not have been listening. I think no one gets up in the morning saying, I am on purpose not going to listen today. Right? No one does that, unless you really have ill intentions. But what happens is that we want to share something, and that's why, how many times do we repeat, or have to repeat that everybody has the same understanding? The things that I say may be half clear to you. If somebody else says this, it may be a lot more clearer. Or I often find that we share a matter and you say, well, I want to add to what everybody else said. I said, no, I don't want you to add. I want to hear your view. And once you have their view, it's completely different to what was said before. So this was our small clip of our Owner World Denver, which we obviously do every month. Unfortunately, right now with COVID, it's obviously not possible, but we're looking forward to have it soon again.
Good evening, Sven. Good evening, Berthold. Good evening, Salma. And of course, good evening to the viewer. Sven, I have to state for the record that the journey with Talk to Sven thus far has also been a great inspiration for me. So thank you very much. And thank you for leading by example. It was great to see what an amazing platform ONL World seems to be. Please unpack it for us. What is it all about?
Yeah, the Owner World is something which we developed over a period of about 10 years, where we bring about 70 people together from all walks of life. Whether you are a security guard, whether you are a manager, and everyone is in the same room, basically, and meaning how important is every single person. So it's a matter of 70 people over 3 days. Everybody gets to know each other. Everybody realizes everyone is just a person. And then, of course, we go through the whole journey where we start basically from an introduction. How important it is to introduce each other. How many times do we work close to someone and we don't know who that is? So these are little things, and of course we're going into purpose, we're going into the values, we're going into our vision metrics, and then the strategic outcomes that we want to achieve at the end of the day. And throughout the process, we show people where our pitfalls are. You know, as I said just now, we think we hear the same thing, but we don't. We think we see the same thing, but we don't. So often you miss so many opportunities, but by not actually pointing out to people their pitfalls and thereby strengthening them and rather ask a second question, rather check in again to be able to do what you need to do in furthering our dream of the ONL Group.
It's evident that you're very passionate about this platform. Why is that?
Yeah, the passion that really comes out of seeing how people arrive and how they leave. Often people saying, you've changed my life. And obviously this is something I do with Berthold as well, a journey because basically people get taken out of their daily life, have a reintrospection of themselves, and realizing that they are great. They just have to do something about it, and there is no one else that can stand in your way unless you allow it to be. And that's when people walk out. We even showing the secret movies, like really the energies you need to put in. And last week we actually talked about the SQ, success quotient, which is very important in actually fulfilling your dreams.
And there's greatness in every single individual and team member.
Absolutely, and that's what we sharing with people. If you think you're just a shelf packer, you're wrong. You're in contact with how many customers every day, and if the shelf isn't packed properly, the only thing the customer will say, these people don't pack the shelf properly. And it shows you, and it highlights to people how important every single one is.
Berthold, you're also a very strategic and important player in this journey. What's your take on the purpose of ONL World?
My experience with ONL World has been that after an ONL World experience, people look at themselves in ways that they never knew before about themselves. People also realize that, as Swen has said, they are not just, for example, a shelf packer, but that he or she is actually helping ONL to achieve its purpose, which is creating a future-enhancing life. So people actually realize that they are in service of something much larger than the little job that they think they are doing. Yeah, important. They are important cog in a whole ONL World experience and so on. So people come back from ONL World quite motivated and looking forward to contributing more.
Hearing you say that once a team member has gone through an ONL World experience, they look at themselves differently.
Yes.
What do you mean when you say that?
Because it's all about also teaching people that they are also leaders in their own right. Sometimes people think the leaders are only the men and the women at the top of the organizations. But at ONL World, Swen and I try to bring the message to the people that you're actually also a leader in your own right. You lead your life, you lead your community, you lead your church group or civic associations, and so on and so on. So everybody lives there that I lead. I lead my life, I lead an activity, and so on. I lead a soccer team. So I'm also actually a leader. So I have got bigger responsibility than I thought I had. I thought leadership was only the preserve of the top leaders. But when you realize that you're actually a leader, you think differently about your job, about your life, and about your contribution, not only to the company, but also to society.
Every single one of us is indeed a leader.
Exactly.
Swen, this evening our focus is on workplace culture, and I would like us to take one slight step back. Talk to us about the ONL Group's workplace culture.
Yeah, our workplace culture plays a major role in our group. I think the time that is spent, in developing our culture, fine-tuning the way finding ways how we can bring people into the best version is significant. We have a complete different outlook. If you look at our total employment expense in the group, it's over 1.2 billion. And what is amazing that, we often forget how important that expense is. We look at line efficiencies and all these different things. And hence, our focus is then on, human capital. How do we get everyone into the best version? So we, therefore, have to develop a culture that's driven by purpose. In the ONL World, we have a significant section allocated to just driving purpose, showing people that they play a role with a bigger purpose in life. Some people, they are just coming out, they want to serve their community. They forget about coming to work then afterwards. They say, no, they serve the community. And that means that you have an ongoing energy in that person, whether it is at home or at work, that it serves its community. And obviously then with the culture comes a number of spheres into this, is the whole teaching, even emotional intelligence we teach in there. We teach how to live a value. What does that mean? Actually, you have many organizations where the values are on the wall, but very few actually use it. But you have to really teach people, how do you live it? And then obviously you've got a leadership model. And that all together creates a certain culture. Our latest drive is genius, and maybe we'll have a session also on genius. How do I get access to your genius? There's genius in every single person, and some just don't know. Some don't know how they can actually further the genius in the dream of what they pursue or what they want to achieve in their life. Absolutely. An amazing latest or last initiative now we have introduced towards our culture.
I love hearing you say that you're teaching people to show up as the best versions of themselves and to live these values. How does one go about that practically, to teach people these values that you embrace, you should actually live them?
Well, you obviously have to really change the conversation. You have to build into your conversation purpose. Why are we doing this today? It's because we're creating a future-enhancing life. And then in our jobs, we do then explain, we do the right thing right, or we hooked on results, or we talk, let's talk. You bring those words constantly into the conversation, and the values then constantly get also evaluated, talked about, check in with your colleagues, and of course we celebrate it. People get awarded with prizes for living examples of the values.
Berthold, please talk to us about your favorite attributes of the ONL Group's workplace culture.
Favorite attribute? I think we put people at the center of our existence. Profits are results, and we believe that if we look after our people, the people will look after the business, they will look after our customers. So the profits will flow from that. And that's why we, as Sven has said, we invest heavily in people-related activities. Like we spent on payroll 1.2 billion that we spent just on people-related activities, including salaries and remunerations and so on. And I think a favorite attribute is the satisfaction that I get when people incorporate the corporate values of ONL in their own lives, in their own communities, and so on. Values of honesty, doing the right thing right, and so on and so on. And I get satisfaction when I hear people talking about this at home, and at grassroots level, that, look, you don't do this, we have to do the right thing right. For example, doing the right thing right is one of our values, for example. And people incorporating that in their daily activities really tells me that what we do actually spill over into people's personal life and maybe also into communities. So that's actually a role that as corporate companies, that we play, and it lands in the communities as well. And that really gives me satisfaction.
Sven spoke up.
Maybe
Yes.
I could just add to that one.
Yeah.
I mean, Berthold reminded me now that there was this example where one of the employees had the values up in their home. And the kid who went to the kindergarten took a copy and put it up in the kindergarten. These are our values.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Leadership starts at home and even in the kindergarten.
Exactly.
Berthold, Sven spoke about evaluation earlier. What I also hear that to mean is that values in a culture can't be stagnant or rigid. Why is evaluation of one's values important to make sure that one keeps on growing and moving forward?
Yeah, it's actually keeping them alive. As Sven has said earlier, you get corporate values, gracing a wall and so on and so on. But in our case, we try to keep them alive with various activities and so on. And it's very important because if you don't keep something alive, if you don't nurture a plant or water a plant, it will die. So in our case, we keep them alive. That's actually what we're trying to do. Yeah.
And maybe to back Berthold's suggestion or comments here is that maybe we have a quick look at the small clip that shows what we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We see one thing, oh, and werk vir 'n goeie maatskappy wat na sy mense kyk. Mense gaan gelukkig elke dag werk toe.
If we don't take the people or the men out of the street, they will take us to the street. And that's the reason why I believe in creating a future and enhancing life.
I've grown in my career. I mean, I started off as a marketing assistant, and now I head up a marketing division.
We are there to grow people.
Because if we're not hooked on results, we might as well not be in business.
In any organization that has the people at their heart is an organization to work for.
We do the right things right, ons doen die regte dinge reg.
Ons doen die regte ding reg. Berthold, please talk to us about the Mukuahima Roadshow. How did this concept come about? What is it all about?
It was actually aimed at creating a culture of oneness. If you look at ONL, it's a group of companies, that operate in various sectors of the economy. But we have got a holding company called Ottawa and this group of companies, and then you've got Namibia Breweries, and. And when Swen took over the firm in 2004, the challenge was, how do we create a culture of oneness across all these brands, across all these companies, and so on? And that's how Mukuahima concept was born. Mukuahima is actually in a Shivambo word meaning a new beginning or a rebirth or whatever. That's actually what it means. So it started as a new beginning, and it is actually where we as leaders every year decide on a theme. What theme do we want to drive this year? It could be about brands, it could be about people, it could be about products, and then we convert that into a script through industrial theater. So we share messaging, corporate messaging, we simplify them by putting fun around those messages, getting actors to transmit or to transfer these messages. With corporate messages can sometimes be abstract, but we put them in a fun way so that it educates people, and that's why you heard people talking about we do the right thing right, and so on and so on. And that is how the message really, really lands in people's hearts and minds.
It gives me great delight to hear you refer to fun. Why is fun so important?
Life is already difficult, and I think if you don't have fun and if you don't enjoy what you are doing, it's gone. You have to look forward to go to work and so on. And really, in our case, fun is a key ingredient of working for ONL. We work hard and we play hard. Yeah.
In fact, it's included in our leadership value.
Yeah.
It's the first time probably, maybe if you don't have fun, you get penalized.
Wow.
No, but it's not that way.
You're serious about fun?
It's in our leadership model where it is to have fun. And obviously we will have interviews and saying, so what stands in your way? As Berthold says, life is tough enough.
Yeah.
Why don't we just have fun?
I love that. So are you saying that fun is important, Swen?
I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, I think we touched on last time also about work and life balance. We box the two already into two things: work and life. You can be making one, and it could be driven through purpose. So let's convert and think differently about work. Let's have fun. We don't have to wait in saying, okay, now I'm in the serious mode from 8 to 5. Okay, then you switch over to the fun mode. By that time you're tired, and you maybe forget to get in the fun mode.
Yeah.
Why don't have fun in what you do? And that's what we drive. And I mean, you're amazed. That's why driving a culture is so important. If you start having a fun culture, I mean, if you heard this person saying we need to take people off the street, otherwise they will take us into the street. In our organization, I think everyone knows this. People copy, and so if we introduce fun, slowly but surely, everyone wants to follow fun. And it's often that with everything we do, there's always a joke. And especially sometimes a cultural joke or a tribal joke or a white and black joke. We always have fun about it and, just laugh.
Great. You said, Berthold, earlier that part of the roadshow's purpose was also to create a culture of oneness. What are we talking about when we're referring to a culture of oneness within the ONL group?
Is a culture of oneness. If one of the things that we do is on Fridays, for example, we dress down, right? So we wear what we call the Mukuahima T-shirts, from the executive chairman to the sweeper or to the merchandiser or shelf packer. And that really creates a culture of oneness. So when these people, for example, meet each other in the street, they may not know each other, but because you are wearing that T-shirt on a Friday, you know, okay, this guy or this woman or this lady actually work for one of the companies within the group. So that's why we try to create a culture of oneness within the group. And also the Monyopaleka culture and concept has actually cemented that oneness within the group. So that if I work for Namibia Breweries, for example, and I go and do a shopping at Pick and Pay or whatever, I know that it's a sister company and it's actually part of me, or I'm actually part of this company as well. So that's what we mean with creating a culture of oneness across the group. But also through central messaging that comes from our offices, you know, sharing things, sharing new ideas and so on, motivation, and.
So when one can only embrace and celebrate oneness if one also acknowledges diversity and the richness that diversity brings. What do you make of that?
Yeah, diversity, I think for me personally, the best experience was when I, after my qualifications as a chartered accountant, I went to Luxembourg and we had 22 different nationalities within that office. And it's amazing what you can learn from other nationalities and whether it is from the way people work, the way people think about things, being at the cuisine, you know, the fusion of the cuisine, and you know, all this, the diversity has got such a source of empowerment. You know, I mean, there's things I don't want to put away from a German culture point of view. I've taken on from other cultures habits which I find inspiring. So I think you can only grow through diversity. And you know, I think we need to embrace it. You know what? Namibia has a luxury of a possibility of leveraging our diversity. That's amazing, and I think we should not underestimate the source of learning from that, from learning from each other and so forth.
Yeah, and maybe to add on to that one, I think the depth of talent that we have, we've got about 6,300 employees, and the depth of talent that we have in the group is amazing, and also the depth of diversity that we have in the group. What I have learned is that really, if you listen carefully to what people are saying across the spectrum, irrespective of the level where they are, you really pick up a lot of lessons, a lot of wisdom, a lot of insights, and so on, if you listen carefully to what people are saying. So, and that comes really from a diverse background of people. So if you want to improve a process or whatever, and you listen to people at various levels, you pick up massive and good ideas that you can implement.
Speaking about lessons learned, wisdom gained, what are the lessons that you've learned through the ONL group culture, and how are you using those lessons to take the journey forward?
Yeah. What I have learned is that, and Neswen has just mentioned a little bit about it, that this concept of genius, that everybody has got some greatness in him or herself. One must just, sometimes people must discover it themselves, sometimes people don't know that they have it. But if you listen carefully to what people are saying and so on, that is what I have learned, that I learn from everyone. I learn from people across the spectrums. And if I want to improve my processes or whatever I'm doing, I do learning and do listening to other people, and that really enrich whatever I want to do. And I think, as when you have also been asked this question, you know, what's your secret to success? And Sven always says, look, I learn from other people. He does not say he learned from people higher up. He said, learn from other people. Yeah, there's something to be learned from a lot of other people.
Absolutely. Sven, part of the workplace culture at ONL is also to acknowledge, recognize, but also celebrate the accomplishments, the greatness of every team member. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I think, Denver, I mean, this is a really look-forward event in the year. It's a major event with being dressed up and everything else. In fact, we've got a small clip. Let's have a look how that looks like.
When you're baleka, I feel refreshed. together we can do it. Together we can do it. Together we can do it. We can do it. Mwenyo paleka, mwenyo paleka, mwenyo paleka. I feel revived. Mwenyo paleka, mwenyo paleka, mwenyo paleka. I feel refreshed. Mwenyo paleka, mwenyo paleka, mwenyo paleka. I feel revived. Mwenyo paleka, mwenyo paleka, mwenyo paleka. I feel refreshed. If I want a house and you want a car, work hard, work smart, think big. Oh yeah, loving what you do.
Just seeing that sheer joy in people's faces made me feel like a valuable star too. So,
Yeah, you are.
Berthold, can you perhaps touch on the purpose of these awards?
Yes, so what you have seen there is our annual Value Star Awards evening. We have what we call monthly recognition programs. If employees live our values, one of our values or selected values to the best of their abilities, they then get selected as Value Star winners for a particular month in a particular company. And then these accumulate until the end of the year, where, for example, a company like Namibia or a company like Pick n Pay will have maybe 10 or 12 value stars per year. And then that evening, the great evening, the crowning moment is that among all these value stars per company, one of them is then selected as the overall value star for Pick n Pay, Namibia Breweries, Namibia Dairies, Pearl Namibia, or whatever the company is. And they then get invited to this glamorous event with their spouses and or partners, whatever is applicable. So they come to this event, and then that moment, the overall winner per company is then announced, and that is what we have. That is what we have witnessed there.
And then he goes on holiday.
Oh,
Yeah.
For
Okay.
a whole trip.
And then of course, if you announce as a winner, you expect a prize, right?
Yes, of course.
Yes. So we have thought long and hard about this. So we decided that as a gesture of appreciation, we'll reward these winners, these Value Star winners, not with big money, but with lifelong memories and experiences. So what we do is that they go on an all-expense-paid trip to a destination, and we call this trip Edutain Trip, standing for education and entertainment, because in this trip, there are elements of education and entertainment in these trips. So we have taken them to various destinations over the years. They have been to Victoria Falls, have taken them to Cape Town, Garden Route, KwaZulu-Natal Coast, have taken them to Sun City, and we went even as far as taking some groups to the island of Mauritius.
Wow.
Yeah. So and these are ordinary people, and for many of them, it will be the first time to see Windhoek. It will be the first time to get into a plane. It will be the first time to sleep in a hotel, and. So it's really a life-changing experience for the people, and that's why we say reward people with memories and lifelong experiences. And actually, this is one of our highlights in our human capital calendar, human capital activities.
Thank you.
For the group. Yeah.
Thank you. Sven, as we conclude this very exciting topic on workplace culture, your final words, please.
Yeah, I think the word workplace culture is really driven by everyone. I think it's very important. Often you see, well, the leaders have to do that, or the managers. I think if we come from a departure point of everybody is a leader, then means that everybody can contribute to create a great workplace. And a smile, a bit of fun, and all these little things make such a big difference in creating a great workplace culture.
And we shouldn't allow COVID-19 for those recognition awards not to take place this year.
Absolutely, no.
Yeah.
And that's why I think with this show, Denver, I would like to thank, of course, my first value star, which is Denver Kisting. I mean, maybe he will be invited next time as well. And the second value star is obviously Selma Moses, our sign language interpreter. Thank you, Selma. And obviously Berthold, who I work with for almost 20 years in developing a great culture. I can really say thank you and looking forward to see you next week again.